I think it is fitting that for the first video of the offseason for the channel here, we talk about the Indiana Hoosiers and their top tier transfer portal class, which is one of the best portal classes in the country to date. Head coach Curt Cignetti, he's not just winning, he's building a dynasty, and the transfer portal is his not so secret weapon. In this insane 2-week window, the Hoosiers have already locked in one of the nation's top transfer classes, sitting top 3 at most sites and climbing. We're talking game changers on both sides of the ball. TCU quarterback Josh Hoover stepping in as the next big-time successor to Fernando Mendoza, explosive Michigan State wide receiver Nick Marsh, Boston College running back Turbo Richard, and a loaded defensive line haul with studs ready to keep that elite pass rush and elite run-stopping ability rolling. And that's just the start. More additions are still coming, but I thought that it's imperative that I make this video now because of the additions that they have made. And this isn't luck or throwing a dollar bill at a player. This is a smart, aggressive recruiting style, prioritizing production over potential. And that's what Curt Cignetti is all about. And he's turning Bloomington into a premier destination for recruits and for transfer portal recruits. The Hoosiers aren't rebuilding, they're reloading for another deep college football playoff run in 2026. Today we're breaking down every major addition, why they fit perfectly, and how Cignetti is making Indiana the blueprint for success in the modern era. And let's dive right in because the Hoosiers are here to stay and they're just getting started. And before we get started with the video, I would like to ask you to please subscribe to the channel as we approach 500 subscribers. I know it's a small mark compared to a lot of other YouTubers out there, but you got to start somewhere, and 500 would be a great achievement for this up-and-coming channel. So thank you so much for watching. Like the video, comment your thoughts down below, and let's get started. And I think it is fitting that we start with the quarterback position. Josh Hoover, rated as a top 5 quarterback in the transfer portal, 15th player overall, committed to Indiana coming out of TCU, where he spent the last 3 seasons as the starter. And you can just see he has some amazing stats as he leads all of current college quarterbacks in total yards with 9,629. Frankly, he is a really consistent passer as he has a 65.2 completion percentage and he's always hovered around 65. In 2023, he had a 62 completion percentage. In 2024, he had a 66.5. And last year in 2025, he had a 65.9. So he's hovering right around 65 completion percentage. And while he does have a very high interception tally with 33 overall, and he had 13 last year, which is less than ideal for sure. While the interception total is high, let me take you back to what happened this year at Indiana. They brought in Fernando Mendoza. How did Mendoza win at Cal? He had to play hero ball because Cal did not have enough weapons around him for Mendoza to distribute the ball around him. At Indiana, what did Indiana do to help out Mendoza? They simplified the playbook, and they had him just duel it out to all of his threats on the outside, and they had a strong running game and one of the best offensive lines in the country. Now, TCU is not Cal. TCU is definitely a step up above Cal. But what Indiana's going to do for Josh Hoover, who was a pure gunslinger, air raid offense, they're going to have a much more balanced approach. They're going to have Hoover, they're going to simplify the playbook for him. They're going to have a ton of good threats on the outside, and we're going to talk about one in Nick Marsh in just a second here. And they're also going to have one of the best offensive lines in the country again. So all of this is going to help out Josh Hoover, who is one of the highest rated quarterbacks in the portal. So along with his talent and production, Indiana's getting a guy who they can still elevate. So speaking of one of those elite targets that Josh Hoover is going to get to throw to, and it's Nick Marsh. Nick Marsh coming out of Michigan State. He's a true junior, going to his true junior season. Over his last 2 years with the Spartans, he has produced at a high rate. Over 2 seasons at Michigan State, he has 100 receptions, over 1,300 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Last season for Michigan State, he had 59 receptions for 662 yards, averaged 11.2 per reception, and had 6 touchdowns. So I threw a lot of stats at you there, but what I love about this get is that he was one of the highest rated recruits coming out of the state of Michigan, and he is a guy who has incredible untapped potential. He has a ton of potential, but his quarterback there was Aiden Childs, not necessarily the greatest thrower of the football. And he has so much potential, especially with a guy like Josh Hoover coming in who's going to feed him the ball. I expect him to have almost 900, even 1,000 plus yards this coming season because of the elite physical tools that he possesses. He has a huge catch radius. He's 6'4", around 210 pounds, and he is just an unstoppable threat on the outside. And if he performs well, he is a first round type of talent in the NFL draft. He really is. And I think that he is an elite get for the Indiana Hoosiers. He was rated as one of the top 5 wide receivers in the portal class this year, and he's a true 4-star across all the sites. He is one of those guys who his talent is recognized everywhere. Top 25 player in the portal, not just wide receiver, player in the portal. And he's one of those guys who's going to instantly come in and help this roster, especially losing Surratt. That's huge for Indiana. They had to fill that gap, and they filled it with an even better receiver, in my opinion, a guy who can run more routes, who is faster than Surratt. Although Surratt can catch a deep ball probably better than Nick Marsh, but Nick Marsh has so much untapped potential that they can tap into this season. Pivoting now to the running back position and looking at the running back that the Hoosiers got in the portal. This is Turbo Richard, a 3-star out of the portal, top 15 running back in the portal. So not as high end as the guys that we've already talked about, but still an elite get for Curt Cignetti. Now I'll tell you why, because he's pivoting now. He had a couple bruisers in Kalen Black and Roman Hemby, at the running back position. Now he's pivoting. Turbo Richard is 5'8", 200 pounds. So, he is objectively a smaller back. But what excites me about Turbo Richard is that he has elite 4.4 speed. He is a speedster, scat back type of guy. So he brings a physical element to him, but he's also a really fast running back. He is a true junior. Going into his true junior year, he has played both his freshman and sophomore years. He's accumulated over 1,000 yards on the ground, 11 touchdowns, and he is a receiving back out of the backfield as well. He's really good in that department as well. He's got, on his career, 275 receiving yards with 2 receiving touchdowns and along of a 50-yard catch. And I really do like this move because, like I said, they're pivoting from a bruiser style of play to now a faster style of play with Turbo Richard coming in. And this may have not been the most exciting get, but to me, it's one of the most exciting gets of this whole portal class for Indiana. Moving on to the defensive line now, and I want to start with a guy whose name I have been butchering for a while now, but still a really good player, Tobi Osunsanmi, and he is one of the top edge rushers in the portal, top 100 player in the portal, and over his career, he's bringing a lot of production with him as an edge rusher. Over 36 games at Kansas State, he has 50 tackles, 12.5 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks, a forced fumble. And the thing that I like about this edition so much is that Indiana, again, they're bringing in proven potential. Potential to, these are players that are very talented, especially at the defensive line. And the guys who they got besides Tobi, I'm not even going to try his last name again, guys like Joshua Burnham out of Notre Dame and another Kansas State Wildcat defensive end, really defensive tackle, defensive end, Chiddi Obiazor, who's 275 pounds and 6'6". And the thing that I really like about all 3 of these defensive line additions, and they got other ones, but these were the primary ones, was that these guys already have the production and they have the potential. And just like what we talked about with Josh Hoover and Nick Marsh, is that they're already really good. They're going to become even better players. They're going to become borderline elite players, some more than others, obviously, but I think that it's really good, especially for this defensive line who's going to be rotating a ton next year because they're bringing back a good amount of guys who are really good, but they also have some seniors who are going to leave, which is why it was imperative that they bring in a lot of defensive line transfers, and they brought in some of the best out there. And I really like the defensive line transfers as well. Another guy who I want to look at really quick on the defense, a safety before we move into the end of the video, is Preston Zachman coming out of the Wisconsin Badgers, 3-star, kind of an underrated take here, as he was an all Big Ten caliber safety before he had a season-ending injury. Again, in 3 games, he had 2 interceptions in 2025. He only had 7 total tackles, but if you look back at his previous 2 seasons, he was the starting safety for some pretty good Badgers teams. In 23, he had 50 tackles. 24, he had 60 tackles. And he had 4 combined interceptions in both those years that he started full time. And Zachman's a guy who's going to come in and he's going to play the run well. He's a ball hawking type of safety. And this was an extremely underrated get, in my opinion, to get Preston Zachman. So I really like the safety addition. I really like the defensive line additions as well. So in finishing up this video here, I want to talk for a second just overall. Indiana overall, according to On3, has the number 5th ranked transfer portal class. And, according to other sites, they're higher than that, but they're still going to climb, and I expect them to get even more transfers probably this coming weekend. But, at time of recording. But what impresses me so much about Indiana is that they have lost almost nobody. They lost 1 3-star and they lost 4 other players who weren't even rated as high as a 3-star. So they aren't losing hardly anyone, and they're still gaining players. This is all that Cignetti preaches. He brings in the talent and he develops them into future talent. He's not looking just 1 year down the road. He looks 3 years down the road, and he brings in guys who he knows that he can develop, and he's proving that he can do that every single year that he's been at Indiana. Well, I say every single year. The last 2 years he's been at Indiana, he's been proving that he takes the lower tier type of talent that a lot of recruiting sites say, the 3 stars, the 4 stars, whatever. He takes those guys and he develops them over time. Look at a guy like Elijah Surratt, not highly rated, but at the end here now he's a pivotal piece in helping them go on to the national championship game. And at the time of recording, that game has not happened yet, but I suspect that they might win that game. But what impressed me so much is that he has this idea, this vision for the program, and right now he's really just fulfilling it. He's bringing in the top tier talent, and he's retaining all of his talent as well. And that is what impressed me so much about Indiana. That's what they did last year, and that's what they will continue to do, in my opinion. So thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. If you haven't already, what are you doing? I make a lot of Indiana videos. We're going to continue to make Indiana videos as they are in the national championship game. We're going to be putting out the preview, my big preview for that very soon, if not already. And just all the keys to the game, all that's going to be happening very soon on the channel. So what I will say is thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to click on other videos on the channel, like this video, and comment on this video as well, as I love to comment with you guys in the comment section down below. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.